I will get to you when I get to you. Well, hello Blue Troopers, and welcome back to the TARDIS. So I've got a little bit of the artwork up, which I needed to clear this table off. I had a bunch of stuff temporarily staged there. I will be getting proper mats or frames for some of this vintage artwork. Right now it's just very delicately put up on the walls and in a way that won't damage it. And none of this is exposed to direct sunlight. So anyway, if I sound a little funny, I actually have the microphone right here, even though it's designed to go on my collar. And that's because we're going to be doing an unboxing from Ed north of 56, and then we're going to talk about some models and stuff, and then I'll let you go. I had to turn the air conditioner and the fan off to do this, and despite being well insulated and everything, it still starts to warm up fairly quickly in here, so you can bet I will not be racing off on any tangents today. So, first off, let's see what Ed up in Canada sent us, and Ed, thank you very much. I have already opened the box, I have not gone into it. So, well, there's a note right here. Max, time to start culling out the herd. Enjoy, Ed north of 56. Well, thank you, Ed. Let's see, first thing we got, since I just finished a car today, this is apropos, 68 Dodge Charger Hemi. And maybe I can get this done in time for the muscle car build, which I'll be talking about in just a minute. And you know, my wife and I just watched a couple episodes of a new TV show, if you can remember Supernatural, and I'm working on the Supernatural Impala. I'm actually going to do that in the office in the Keeler's Custom Topolino here in the TARDIS, and I'm going to talk about that in a minute. It's actually one of the things I want to get to. But this new show, Winchesters, is a spin-off Supernatural. It's a prequel. It's the parents of, if you've ever watched Supernatural, of Moose and Squirrel, and you'll get that joke if you anyway. The two main characters from Supernatural, and it deals with their mom and dad, and I think the mom drives about a 68. I don't know if it was a dark. I didn't have to go on YouTube and see what she's driving, but it looks a lot like it. That would make a nice pair. The 67 Impala 4-door and what Mary Winchester used to drive, which was a kind of blue-gray. It might have been a dark, but I need to go look now. I don't think so, but still, beautiful kit. I look forward to Revell. I've been pretty impressed with these newer Revell car kits, so we'll see. I'll decide when the time comes. And let's see, we have an Academy P47 MN model. That's the late model. And I won't go off into a tangent about the P47, and or P40N. I will tell you that it is the first P40 I saw in real life, was an N model that I saw fly at an air show. Not really sure what the story, but the N model was apparently a kind of a low-cost mass production version of the P40, is my understanding, with an extended greenhouse. You can always tell it by that big long square greenhouse. But I think it was one of the last models made, and that's in 1/72nd scale. Let's see, we have an Accurate Miniatures P51C. Now, the P51C and the P51B are nut for rivet identical airplanes. Correct me if I'm wrong, the P51Bs are manufactured in Long Beach or California, and the P51Cs were manufactured in Texas, I think Dallas-Fort Worth. But anyway, so what scale is this? Where's the scale? That's interesting. Oh, there it is, 1/48 scale. And that's interesting, it's in the Pacific colors, so you don't see too many P51s in the Pacific colors. And shooting down what looks to be a Sally bomber. No, not a Peggy. A Peggy, I think it's got a turret. I don't think that's a Betty, but I'm not 100% sure. But I built two of those Sallies, the LS kits, and they had the turrets. Let's see, we have another P51. This is just says P51 Mustang. This is an A model or a pre-A model. This is the one with the Allison engine that has the Army called the A36 Apache. The British called it the P51, or the British called it gave it the name Mustang. If I'm not mistaken, you guys can correct me on that if I'm wrong. This just says P51 Mustang. So I doubt it'd be a pre-A model, but it is the early, what was all, before that had been known as the A36. I gotta go brush up on my Mustang history, because the A36 was an attack plane. In fact, it actually had dive brakes on it, which they wired down when they made a fighter out of it. Here's another P-51A model. This one says P-51A, and it's got some Verlinden, got a Verlinden thingy here. Well, I'll look at that later, see. No, it's actually taped on here. Okay. There might be some Verlinden parts in here. These boxes have been opened. So might be some conversion components, but this says first production. So that's the P-51A, when it was, first the P-51, it's fighting in the European theater there. And, it's fighting in the Pacific theater here. It's shooting down what looks to be offhand, it's got the twin tails. Is that a Nick? You get in front of the camera and your brain goes blank. Show me pictures of the airplane when the pressure's not on, I can identify them all, but once the camera's on, it's like taking a check ride. So anywho, and we have the Accurate Miniatures 1/48 scale B25 CD. So having done that Revell kit, this will be interesting to build one of the same scale to compare it, because that Revell kit fought me a lot of the way. Of course, the plastic had gotten kind of brittle on it, and these are all appear to be in the Pacific theater. And because you see he's got Japanese bombers on the ground that he's hitting, which makes me think this is probably the operations in Salome or Leh, or where they're dropping, I think it was General Kinney that came up with the parachute delayed fragmentation bombs. I seem to remember reading or hearing about this just recently. No, it was the book by Saburo Sakai. And he was talking about the B-25 bombing missions and how effective they were. Also, how many B-25s and B-26s were lost. And in some cases, he's claiming they shot them all down. But they were always in small numbers. It wasn't like Europe where there were 1,000 planes. Raids would be as little as 4 or 6 or 9 or 12 planes, and without fighter escort. So they would try and get in and out. And he was always amazed. He was impressed by the bravery of the crews. No matter what they did, they stayed on mission. And he said what really terrified him about these B-25s in this configuration was they would come along at night where the Zeros really couldn't fly. He got that to his book. They weren't equipped for night flying. They didn't have the resources on the ground to make recovery. They did do some night missions and shot some planes down, but at great risk and lost some airplanes in the process. But he said they would come, not only would they bomb the target, they keep coming back and strafing and strafing and strafing. They did an incredible amount of damage. Probably some of the most effective missions. And let's see, we have Fine Scale Modeler Magazine, which is tabbed here. So, Finishing the Flying Fortress, okay. This is, so I will look at that. And we have, beautiful, some decals. This is Super Scale Decals number 48-849 North American B-25D Mitchell's 501st Bomb Squadron 345th Bomb Group. Well, Ed, thank you for that. And I think I'm going to put these in the office because I think that's where I have all my P-51 stacked. I'm planning on this massive P-51 build at some point, like production line. I don't know why, it's how my mind works. Whoa! And that's just awesome. I can't thank you enough for all that. And I will get all this organized later. Now, talking about the cars, more or less, I finished the Mustang, the Shelby Mustang today. Unfortunately, the front end still doesn't sit as low as I would like, and the clamps wound up damaging the paint stripes on the hood a little bit. So, I thought about filing them down, but I tend to do more damage than good, and I wasn't going to respray because it'll never match. So I thought about just leaving the damage there. It's like, hey, it's a car a guy drives. It gets dings on the road. I was like, I went ahead and dabbed a little white paint on it, and like I say, sitting on the shelf, you can't see it. You look close, you'll see it, but I don't look close. Or I can just take my glasses off. Anyway, so let's see. The trio of kit bashes for the post-war Luftwaffe field kit bash diorama maker, mostly done now. I still got some touch-up works, but I got to start working on the diorama. Some folks are asking me to talk about how I do the diorama. Right now, I'm thinking about taking one of these black square cardboard pieces, putting foam on it and cut it up, cover it with paper mache. I like using paper mache because it's free. I mean, basically take some of the flyers of paper, soak them in some diluted white glue, smear them all over. Once it hardens, it's hard enough, and then it's easy to cut and everything, and you can spray it gray, get your base down there in whatever color you want, and then put the grass and vegetation on the last, and styrofoam under it. Of course, you can stick your vegetation and have something to sort of stick into, and you have a little depth if you want to dig something out, a trench or something. You can shape it with a knife, whatever you want to do. That's kind of how I'm planning to do it. And this is just leftover styrofoam, boxing styrofoam. Again, comes with dioramas. I try to do it with free stuff as much as I can. And because a lot of that diorama making material actually gets pretty pricey. So the other thing is the Topolino is the Keeler's Custom. It comes with two engine options. You've got the Ford 427 or the Cadillac engine. And as Steve over at Steve's Model Mania pointed out, you kind of have enough parts there that if you have another body, you can pretty much build two cars. It's a really nice, a lot of parts of this kit, but because it gives you so many options, which I think is just awesome. And I might do a little diorama with the car and just with like the guy doing an engine swap, have both engines on this. We'll see how they look. Who knows? Do something a little bit different because we are going to have a diorama build coming up in the future. Not that you can't do dioramas in the meantime, but there'll be one that's just dioramas. But I could make that in time for the muscle car build, but I've already got a couple of car projects going on with the Impala, and I just finished the Mustang. We'll see. Amazing how time gets away from you, and I still have to work. So, anywho, so that's where we're at on that. I was planning a little video on the DC-4E. I thought that'd be kind of a cool thing to make, and then I found out there's no kits to the airplane. I mean, Anagran, who makes really exotic stuff, I believe makes a resin one. And back in the 40s, there was a wooden kit made, but we'll talk about that more in another video. And that's where we're at right now. I think I've caught you up on everything. So guys, hope you're having a great day. Take care of yourself. Ed, once again, thank you tremendously for your generosity. I really do appreciate it. Take care, guys, and as always, model on. And in further news today, a U.S. reconnaissance satellite was taken out of orbit today by a piece of flying styrene believed to have been clipped off a vintage Revell 1/32nd scale model airplane. Film at 11.